Hello again, everybody, at Vintage Iron Range Dirt Track Racing. I am here today with the legend Tom Nesbitt. Tom, great to be here. Nice to see you. We're at the 41st Annual Labor Day Shootout in Hibbing. Tom, when did you start racing?
1959.
Was that up in Riverview then?
No, that was an exhibition ground half mile downtown Thunder Bay.
Oh, okay.
Well, it was Fort Wayne, Port Arthur then.
Okay. Were you born in Thunder Bay?
Yes.
From Thunder Bay? Okay. What got you started in racing?
Probably my neighbor, Tommy Dow. His mother and my mother were great friends, and he started racing, and he lived down about the block from me. And I got interested in then just taking the bus Wednesday nights and sitting in the grandstand and watching him race.
And that gave you the itch to start driving then?
Yeah.
Okay. How many total years did you drive? How many total years did you
50.
drive? Exactly 50, huh?
Yeah, well, I quit on the 50.
Wow. That's impressive. What was your last year behind the wheel? Do you remember?
Well, it would be 2008. If you start in 59 and 50 seasons is 2008.
Okay. How did you end up picking number 1 as a number?
Easy to paint.
Affordability, huh? Well, just one stroke and the number's done?
And Tommy Dell was number 2.
Okay.
And it was just, the cars we made were in a hurry, and one was easy.
Okay. Fair enough. Why were most of your cars blue?
They started out, the first car was bikini coral and white. That was a 48 Merc.
Okay.
And then I had a 52 Oldsmobile that was black. And then I built this 55 Chev, you might say the first late model.
Uh-huh.
And it was Omaha orange I painted it.
But you did settle into blue, though, most of your
Kinda
cars.
halfway through that summer, a friend of mine was a painter, Billy Ray, and we painted it blue, but a terrible blue, outside Joel Kreiderman's father's service station. And then a friend of mine had a 55 Chev two-door hardtop, and it was painted Parisian blue, almost like a Richard Petty blue.
Uh-huh.
And I liked that color, because the first blue was kind of gunmetal gray blue, terrible. Uh-huh. And I liked that Parisian blue, and so now I just started painting all my cars that
So you just
Parisian
took a
blue.
liking to that shade of blue then?
And later on, when we started getting painted metal,
Mm-hmm.
you couldn't really get the right color.
Mm-hmm.
You could get, it was Grabber blue and Ford blue and Pepsi blue.
Pepsi blue, yeah.
And then they come out, the aluminum companies come out with a Chevron blue.
Yep, that was a little
which
darker.
was damn close to the Parisian blue.
So that made you happy, I bet, that color was available.
Yeah.
Now, some of your late models back like in the late 70s, early 80s, they were yellow and red.
They
were
driving
for
I drove for
chassis?
Mike Nystrom affordable chassis, and that's his favorite color, yellow and red.
Okay.
That was 80, 81, and 82.
Okay. Of all the cars you drove, which car would you consider to be maybe your favorite car of all?
Oh boy. Probably the second Howe car that I sold, bought a kit car. Actually, that's the one I won the Silver 1000, and then I sold it to Glenn Timko, and with the money I sold it to him, I went and bought a complete roller from Ed Howe.
Uh-huh.
And that was a nice car to work with and drive. I did some improvements on it, and probably the fastest car was that orange and yellow car, because it was way before weight rules.
Okay.
And it was 300 pounds lighter than any car on the racetrack. They had made a fantastic car.
So there was a built-in advantage then?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
It was just lighter than anything on the racetrack.
Okay. What was your most memorable win?
Probably the Thunder Bay race, first one I won there, the Invitational.
Okay.
I mean, I raced there for many years and didn't even sometimes didn't finish. The last year I raced the Northern Nationals, winning that in Superior. That was Memorial. Wasota 100. I think I won that 2 years at Cedar Lake. I can't remember.
You've had a lot of wins, that's for sure.
Yeah, like over 700 features.
On contrasting to that then, do you remember what may have been your worst night of racing?
Oh boy. I'd have to think about that for a while.
I'm sure you've had a few though, right? Everybody.
Yeah, I was in a wreck where I broke my foot at Cedar Lake and ran over a piece of weight, cut out the right front tire and just headed me right into the wall. I had to re-stub the car.
Ouch.
And it was on a cast.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a bad night. And I never really had any bad wrecks, you know.
Okay. Now I know you've pretty much won every race around everywhere that I know of, but were there any races out there or accomplishments that you always wanted to win but were never able to?
Wow. That's kind of I got to think about that. Winning one time we raced down south. I used to race in the off season, and I won the Louisiana State Championship one year in '92, I think. Then I won a Tampa race in Beaumont, Texas, and at Battleground Speedway, and that was kind of a big deal, winning a Tampa race.
Mm-hmm.
And
so you can't really think of anything that you didn't win that you wanted to. That's a good thing to not be able to think of. That means you won quite a bit. What was your best season of racing?
Probably, you mean feature wins?
Well, no, just an all-around season. Like if you could go back and do it again, that was like the season where everything went right for you.
I'm gonna say with Mike Nystrom in that affordable car,
Okay.
when I won out like 43 or 44 features one
So
time.
that was one of them years where just everything fell into place.
Right.
then.
Well, there was no weight rules. We had an advantage. Their car was way ahead of anything out there.
Okay. Did you ever take a shot at the World 100?
No, I've been there to that racetrack, and I actually only took a race car once, and it got rained out,
Oh, no kidding.
and we never.
That's kind of bad luck then, huh?
Yeah, we never got unloaded.
What do you feel may have been your secret for being so successful for so long?
Was either that or get a job.
So you the pressure was on to perform. Huh? Now, you've raced all over the country, like you mentioned earlier. Does racing differ in other regions than it is around here up in the Northland? Is there any major differences that stick out to you?
Well, down there, they're damn close, but passing points I've ran into down there, and I like them, but they're not doing it right here, but they still, and they treat you good down there, but mainly just the passing points is the difference.
Okay, so racing is racing pretty much all over the country.
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
Heck, I even raced in Mexico once.
really? Wow.
Juarez.
What was that place like? That must have been interesting.
It was a brand new racetrack made by a beer company, and we were on a series in Arizona, and they raced Manzanita, which is long gone.
Mm-hmm.
Tucson, and they paved that track now and made a new dirt track. Las Cruces, which is close to El Paso, and then the next night we went across the border and raced in Juarez.
Not many people can say they've raced in Mexico.
No, it was a brand new racetrack, and it was rougher than hell. I remember that. And the funny part is, the drivers' meetings, everything was in Spanish. There was no English spoken.
Uh-huh.
And we had a race at the start of the race, and I think it was starting like outside row, third row or second row. And there was a crash. Cars in front of us crashed, and there was a restart. And up until that time, it had been Spanish. Even the announcer was in Spanish, murdering our names. So on the restart, I tried to crisscross.
Uh-huh.
Because the inside was the place to be, like last night here. And it went around 3 times, and they're trying to motion me. And I wasn't listening, I wasn't looking. And finally, the lineup guy stopped me on the front straightaway. And in perfect English, he said, "We don't crisscross here."
So all of a sudden you knew English when they needed to yell at you.
I ended up 5th that night.
Okay.
In that feature. 4th or 5th.
Okay.
I remember Carl Trimmer won it. There's a lot to this story, but we'll get into it later.
Okay. All right. Well, that concludes part 1 of our interview with Tom Nesbitt. Please stay tuned for part 2.